Hi there, Facebook. Happy Memorial Day weekend here on Friday night, west side of Los Angeles, Century City. I'm Skip Bayless. I'm Fox Sports 1. I'm undisputed. I just watched LeBron James go epic on the Boston Celtics, forcing Game 7, as I think we all pretty much expected. So I'm about to unleash my knee-jerk, early, instant, off the top of my head thoughts about what I just saw and what I think we are going to see in Sunday night's Game 7. But quick, for just a moment, cameo from our daughter Hazel, our Maltese of a year and a half age. My wife Ernestine is about to present Hazel for her cameo. Thank you very much. Ernestine, here is Hazel. Hi, Hazel. Say hi to Facebook. Say hi to LeBron. Hi, Facebook. How are you? Thank you. Now I'm okay. Gotta get my nose clean. Now I'm good. Thank you, Hazel. Thank you, Ernestine. Thank you, Facebook, for watching. Here we go. Shutting this door. So, on Undisputed today, I predicted LeBron would go for 44, 12, and 10. 44 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists. My partner on Undisputed, Les Shannon Sharp, a big LeBron fan, put it mildly. I forget what he had, but he had like 40, I think he had 40 even maybe, and lower rebounds and assists. Anyway, I was a little closer. And yet, I thought the game would be a blowout. I thought the first quarter would be a blowout. I thought it would be a 25-point game because in games 3 and 4 in that Cleveland arena, the average margin of victory for the Cavaliers, the home team, had been 20 points. So I thought tonight they would just step on the mostly playoff inexperienced Boston Celtics from the start, and they actually did it in the second quarter. First quarter was won by the Celtics. Highly impressive. Second quarter was won hugely by the home team, 34-18, and that was really the end of the story. As usual, the Boston Celtics hung on, fought, scratched, clawed, wouldn't give up. Too young to know to give up. And yet, I still believe, bottom of heart thought, I just don't think the Celtics believed they could win that game tonight. I thought they could hang in, and they did hang in, and they cut it to 7 a couple times late. And actually, Jaylen Brown had a three-point shot that would have cut it to 4 at one point. And then the Kings said no, and they were already pulling away at that point. But LeBron, who is an all-time great front runner, and I'm not using that disparagingly, I'm using that as a compliment. He made 2 bomb threes. He comes and goes from the three-point line. He's been pretty miserable for most of the postseason. But he got hot-handed tonight, and he hit those 2 bombs, and they were bombs. They were, 27, 28 feet, 4 or 5 feet beyond the three-point line on Jason Tatum. And ball game. Game over, as it should have been from the start. And yet, it was clear from the start that Cleveland wanted this game, as they've wanted each of their home games, more than Boston wanted this game. Cleveland fought harder. Cleveland won the backboards, even without, and this is the topic of discussion for this night, even without Kevin Love, who early on banged heads with Jason Tatum, and it looked like Kevin took the worst of it, and I'm pretty sure he was in concussion protocol. And now the story becomes, will Kevin Love be cleared for Sunday night's Game 7? I have no idea at this moment. Maybe we'll find out something here in the next couple of hours about that, or probably more likely tomorrow about that. But it's going to be a big storyline because coming into this game, Kevin Love led the entire NBA playoffs in rebounds. Not bad. He's an all-star. He's been here and done all this before. He's been in lots of high stakes, big games, 6s and 7s, alongside LeBron James. And he just knows how to play. He knows what it feels like, and that would be a huge loss if Kevin Love cannot play Sunday night at Boston, putting even more pressure, obviously, up on the shoulders of one LeBron James, who, by the way, did not get tired tonight. Who knows? I don't know what's going on. It got so bad in Game 5 at Boston the other night. I thought he was going to have to get some sort of special clearance to play with an IV in his arm. I don't know, like to have the whole thing on a little cart beside him as he ran up and down the floor with the IV in his arm. I don't know. I just never seen anything like that. I still can't get over tired in that game. I don't get it. Eddie House made the point today on Undisputed that maybe it's more mentally tired than physical. I buy that. I could see that. And by the way, Eddie House was a teammate of LeBron James when he melted down all-time superstar meltdown I have ever witnessed in that 2011 finals, the first go-around with the Miami Heat against the Dallas Mavericks in games 4, 5, and 6. After Miami had jumped to a 2-1 lead, the chosen one became a frozen one. So Eddie House has witnessed firsthand LeBron having sort of a mental meltdown. And I don't know what that was in Game 5. I still don't know what it was in Game 7 against Indiana. I don't get it. In Game 7 against Indiana, a minute left in the third quarter, LeBron just checked out. And they said it was quote-unquote cramps, but he wasn't limping. He didn't appear to be cramping. I think, honestly, the mental stress just wore on him, and he just needed to regroup. And he walked to the locker room, and 5 clock minutes passed before he returned to the game, during which, guess who? Kevin Love just took the game over against those gritty Pacers. Just took the game over, made 2 huge three-point shots and a mid-range jump shot. That's 8 points in 5 minutes. And the lead went from Cavaliers by 1 over those game Pacers to Cavaliers by 12. So LeBron returns, what would it be, 4 minutes into the fourth quarter, and they're up 12 points. And it's basically game over. So Kevin Love saved the Cavaliers season, and I would submit he could certainly help save it if he can clear concussion protocol and play on Sunday night. But tonight belonged to the King. Loved the way he played offense. Didn't love the way he played defense, but at least he tried. He roamed a lot. He switched men a lot. Sometimes his man was open to a fault. But he did rest some on defense tonight, but he never rested on offense. He was in attack mode the whole night. He was getting into the lane. He was often getting to the rim. Although I must bring it up, I'm sure it will be swept under the carpet by the blind witnesses, as I call them out there, the LeBron idolaters, apologists, defenders. But there was a moment, I think it was late in the third quarter. Was it early fourth? I'm a little foggy because I still can't believe I witnessed it. LeBron attacked the rim. Way to go, King. And he goes up for a right-handed throwdown dunk. And guess who met him at the rim? 6'4" Marcus Smart met 6'9" LeBron James at the rim and got pure right hand on ball and rejected the attempted slam of one King. 6'9" tried to slam on 6'4" and ate it. He ate it. It was a reverse posterizing by Marcus Smart. I don't know. That may come up Monday on Undisputed, that video. It just may come up. I don't know why. I just got this wild, crazy feeling. But by then, it'll be swept way under the carpet because by then, I believe that LeBron James will have won Game 7 and advanced to yet another, what are we up to? 8 straight NBA Finals. Way to go, King. Highly impressive, even though it has been in the East. And I'm going to say this again. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say it again. The Cavaliers are just better than that team you just watched. I know it's been night and day, Boston or Cleveland venues, night and day, Jekyll and Hyde. Cavaliers own the Celtics in Cleveland, and Boston just has Cleveland's number at Boston, where Boston's won all 10 playoff games this year. They're 10-0 at home. I'm sorry, I just don't believe in their heart of hearts that they believe they can beat LeBron James in a Game 7. And this brings us to the fact LeBron loves this building. It's the new Boston Garden from what, like 1995? But man, he's had some big games there. I believe the two greatest games, the two biggest performances I've ever seen from LeBron came in that building. The first one came his final go-around 2010 in Boston. It would be game 2, Cavs versus Boston, in the second round of the playoffs, I believe. But it was a Friday night game. I watched with my wife Ernestine in our place in New York City. And LeBron just went off on the Celtics. I believe the series was tied at a game each. And I believe the Cavaliers went up 2-1 on that Friday night because LeBron just took it over. He just took the crowd out of that building. He took the fight out of the Celtics. It was a tour de force by the guy. At that point, I was calling Prince James because he had not yet won a championship. And then you know the rest of the story. We had another meltdown in game 4, 5, and 6. We had some weird stuff going on, and then we had members of LeBron's inner circle leaking the fact, quote unquote, that LeBron had to be sedated before games 4, 5, and 6 because of an internal issue, a locker room issue with the teammate Delonte West. You probably know the urban legend of the story, whatever, but that's what the story that was leaked was, and I'm sorry, I don't buy it at all. I think LeBron just crumbled. But he had one sensational game. Then he takes his talents to South Beach, and in that first go-around with the Miami Heat, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, they fight through Indiana, as you remember, and get to Dallas in the NBA Finals. This would be 2011, and they go up 2-1, and I was told by my former partner, Stephen A.Smith, he actually reported this, that LeBron went to his hotel room that night in Dallas up 2-1. Ahead of game 4 in Dallas, and that LeBron made a list of these are the people I'm going to tell I told you so, and that I happen to be at the very top of his list. Number 1, I'm going to tell Skip Bayless so. And you know the rest of that story. Chosen one, frozen one. And it was hard to watch even for me, and I don't hate LeBron. I actually like him a lot. Sometimes I think he's too nice for his own good, but it was painful to watch. And yet and still, that was 2011. 2012 playoffs, conference finals, Miami Heat versus Boston Celtics. I know it was kind of the end of the Celtics run. They were a little over the hill. But man, it came down to do or die game 6, a potential elimination game at Boston in this same building. That was the greatest game I've ever seen LeBron play because the heat was on because of the meltdown in the finals the year before. And a lot of my friends in the media were really questioning LeBron's intestinal fortitude, his basketball backbone, his basic intangibles. His winner intangibles, or are they loser intangibles? And he came up huge that night. Forgive me, I don't have the numbers right in front of me. I'm just talking off the top of my head to you here live on Facebook. But LeBron, that was the greatest game he's ever played, to me. And he just stepped on those Celtics. He stepped right on their throats. And they knew they just were not good enough to keep him from the rim or from a Game 7, which was back in Miami, and it was another tour de force, and it was cruise control. Celtics were finished by LeBron in Game 6 in their building. So those are two huge, great games. I'm sure you can go on into other big games he's played in Boston, but he loves to play in Boston. He loves to shoot in that building. I still don't get the tired act that we saw the other. Not that it was an act, it was real. Is it possible we see that again? Is the building just a little too stuffy for him? Does he not hydrate? Does he... I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. But here's the bottom line. The Cavaliers are just better than the Celtics. I'm going to remind everybody one more time. Everybody says, boy, the Cavaliers fought through all this adversity. Baloney. You want adversity? Look at Boston. They lost a great player. The same great player that LeBron lost. Kyrie Irving. I think he's the best closer in basketball. He hit the shot of shots. Game 7 at Oracle as the Cavaliers roared back from 3-1 thanks to the Draymond Green suspension. Game 5. And Kyrie ended it. It was a horrible fourth quarter. Steph Curry was horrible. LeBron was hit and miss. He did have the chase down block, but it was actually the bicycle built for two because if you look closely, A.Smith cut off Iguodala at the pass and made him slow down, slow up, pull up a little bit before he went up for the lay-in. And LeBron was able to have just enough time to track it down and block it just the way he did little Terry Rozier. And then Mike Breen is going crazy on ESPN. I love Mike Breen. Just a quick aside, Mike Breen is really, really good at his job. He's a really good man who is a really great play-by-play man. His play-by-play call tonight measured up to the greatness of LeBron James. Way to go, Mike Breen. Miss seeing you. Not that I ever really worked with you at ESPN closely, but I crossed your path, and you are still playing at the highest level. Way to go. But the point was, another chase down by LeBron on 6'1" Terry Rozier. Okay, great. I want to see that in Game 7. I want to see that kind of energy on both ends of the floor because it will be required. Because clearly, it's like the oldest cliche in the NBA is that in the playoffs, role players play better at home. Role players don't play so well on the road. So will LeBron have enough help? He never has enough help. I thought he had a lot of help tonight from a whole lot of players. But he was great. So he needs to be great. He needs some help. But here's the point. The truth is the Celtics have nothing but role players. They're just a bunch of role players because they haven't come of age yet. Jason Tatum's just a baby. He just turned 20. He's a rookie. Jaylen Brown has his moments. You can see the talent. He just hasn't arrived yet. He doesn't have his man body yet. He can't bang with LeBron. LeBron took him in. In fact, I thought I had nailed his point total at 44, and LeBron just sort of bullied Jaylen Brown on that left-handed drive and banged up against him and went off the glass. And, you know, it's just, they're just too young. I know Al Horford's a veteran, but he's not a dominating, difference-making player. He just plays really good basketball. And Marcus Morris tries hard, but he's just not as gifted as LeBron. He's got his man body. He's the one guy who does. But, you know, Terry Rozier, these are young players who haven't been here and done any of this before. So I call this a 5-game series. I thought the Cavs would win it in 5, and I was flat out dead wrong. But I'm not wrong about this. The Cavs are just better than the Celtics, and they're going to prove it on Sunday night. And I'm not saying that the law of averages will catch up on Sunday night. I'm not saying that just because you're 10-0, you're due to lose at home. That's just not it. It's just time for LeBron to say, okay, that's enough. Because the truth is, LeBron owes his team for Game 5. That was just pathetic. You can't defend it. You can tell me he doesn't have enough help. It just makes my stomach turn when I hear it on Undisputed. That's 9:30 to noon Eastern on Fox Sports 1. But my partner across the table, well, JR, who was it in Game 5? George Hill. The Celtics didn't play very well in Game 5 either. And they shot it poorly in the fourth quarter. They were begging to be beaten in the fourth quarter. Just as they were in Game 2 at Boston, they were just begging. They don't have Kyrie. They can't close. So if it's a close game on Sunday night in the fourth quarter, watch what happens. You can book this. The Celtics will miss a bunch of shots. They've had 2 long stretches in the fourth quarter of Game 2 and Game 5. 2 and 5. I'll get it right. 2 and 5 at home. Long stretches of those fourth quarters where I added up where it was like 6 or 7 minute stretches, they couldn't score. They didn't score a basket. They might have made a couple of free throws, but they couldn't make a basket. Couldn't make a 3. They shot it miserably from 3 in the fourth quarter. I think they're 2 for 12 in Game 5 in the fourth quarter. They just couldn't buy a basket. They couldn't slam the door. And the King slammed the door on his own foot because he just ran out of gas. He's just pulling up, holding his shorts, wound up sitting on the scores table, chugging water just to show his blind witnesses, I'm out of gas over here. I'm dehydrated. How can you be dehydrated? You're the King. You spend $1.5 million a year on your fitness program. You've got hyperbaric chamber and your own masseuse and all those things you should have. Nobody knows how to take care of his body more than LeBron James does. I thought he was supposed to be the fittest athlete on the planet. That's what Shannon Sharp keeps telling me. And then you run completely out of gas, and you start have to pull. He pulled himself out of Game 5 at Boston in the first quarter, and then in the second quarter. And tonight, it was obvious he was going to prove a point. He played the whole first half, 24 minutes the first half. Didn't rest until later in the third quarter. But to the Celtics' credit, the one thing I do admire about it is just their tenacity. Maybe they're too young to know that they're not supposed to quit, or that they are supposed to quit, or that they've got basketball character. Maybe it emanates from their coach. Maybe it emanates from their GM, Danny Ainge, who was a spunky, plucky, irritating sort of player, just wouldn't back off. Maybe that rubs off on the kids. Maybe Al Horford rubs off on the kids because he's just going to keep playing. Not going to be bothered. LeBron can bomb threes, and he just shrugs and goes to the other end and makes a basket. And that's basically what they did tonight, and they hung in, and they made this ultimately a 10-point game. That's advantage Boston psychologically. Again, they had it to 7. They could have cut it to 4 midway fourth quarter. Do I think they would have won? I do not, but they did not get blown out tonight. That's advantage psychologically, Boston going home. They know they've beaten this team 3 times at home. They know they haven't lost in 10 times in these playoffs at home. So do I think they're going to hang in and make this game? How could they not? But it's time for the King to say no. No more tired. No more resting on defense. This is pretty simple. This is one game to get to your 8 straight finals. This is cut and dried to me. I'm sorry. It's just the Celtics have nobody who can keep LeBron James from the rim except for maybe Marcus Smart on occasion blocking his dunk. Never seen anything like that. But if the if the Cavaliers just play as hard as they just played tonight, do you realize they crushed Boston on the offensive boards tonight without Kevin Love, 15-5. That's the offensive boards. And do you know how many second chance? I don't have it in front of me, forgive me, but keeping tally in my head, keeping sort of a running tally. I'm pretty sure off LeBron misses at the rim, they scored at least 8 and maybe 10 points on putbacks, second chance points. LeBron got a couple of them, and I think his teammates got maybe 3 more of them where he would drive and just get the ball up on the rim and it would lip out or just bounce barely out. And at the end, remember, he went up and got one and put it right back in. It kind of rolled around 5 times and fell. But the point is, that's just effort. That's just the Cavs wanted that game more than the visitors did. So we got the Jekyll Hyde, but we got Cleveland just playing its tail off tonight on defense. Kyle Korver is flying all over the floor. A.Smith is diving for balls. Got a bad foul call when he just obviously beat Jason Tatum to a ball. By the way, Jason Tatum took a shot to the head just like Kevin Love did. And for a while, I think Jason Tatum was a little out of it. He stayed on the floor. Well, it looked like he was feeling the effects. Then he started to get the cobwebs out and get back in rhythm. But I'm wondering, is he going to have a pretty bad headache tonight? So, obviously, tonight at home, Jordan Clarkson played great. Larry Nance played great. But by their standards, they came with huge energy, and they each made some plays. George Hill, what do you have, 20? Do you have 20? Played tremendous for George, but by his standards, tremendous. And Jeff Green played big tonight. He played like Jeff Green is highly capable of playing. I still think this is a good basketball team. Everybody laughs and says, oh, this is the worst team. What were they saying on the ESPN telecast? That this team is, what was it, worse than the 07 team or whatever? No, it's not. This is a good basketball team. It's a deep basketball team. Kyle Korver's the fourth best three-point shooter in the history of this league and really plays at a high level on defense. You can say, oh, he's just a white guy who can't move his feet. Okay, I'll give you that, but he moves them as hard as he can move them. And he knows how to play, and he dives for loose balls, and he disrupts, and he deflects, and he creates havoc on defense when he comes in off the bench. And I don't know what happened to Rodney Hood. Maybe we'll have a Rodney Hood sighting. He got completely doghoused. He just lost it. I guess the stage was just too big for him, but I've seen him in so many big regular season games shoot the lights and the hearts out of my San Antonio Spurs. He is 6'8" and can just flat out stroke it. And I don't know. That's a big psychological loss for LeBron's team because I thought he would be the guy who would come in and make 4 threes a night. And you'd be saying that's just too good. Because when he gets going, you cannot stop it, you can't block it, you can't bother it. He's that good, and he got off wrong. I guess LeBron, he makes all the big decisions. He calls timeouts. He takes himself in and out of games, and I'm pretty sure he just gave up on Rodney Hood and just doghoused him. He's out. He's not even in the rotation anymore. Maybe he'll return for Game 7 or the finals. This team, the Cavaliers, they're going to be in the finals. They could get a huge break if the Rockets can close the deal. And now, obviously, I'm pretty sure the Rockets are not going to close the deal in Game 6 tomorrow night at Oracle because Chris Paul has been officially ruled out with his hamstring. But I'm telling you, he's had trouble with that hamstring. It's plagued him his entire career. But it comes and goes quickly and shockingly to me. I know I've had a lot of hamstring issues in my distance running career, my 10K marathon career. And if it goes, if you've had trouble with your hamstring, you're just shot. You're done. You're limping. You can't run through it. You can't gut it out. But somehow Chris Paul has I think he has more spasms because remember that game against my Spurs in the finals? How many years back are we going? 3 years ago? It was the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight weekend. Anyway, what is it? 4 years? I'm losing track of the years. But it was the Game 7 where the Spurs blew a game in the final regular season game at New Orleans that dropped them from second in the standings in the West to sixth. And they wound up in Game 7 at Staples against Chris Paul's Clippers. And he pulled his hamstring, and I thought he was gone. He went to the locker room, and he came back and hit the shot of shots over Tim Duncan, a high-banking, soft, off-the-glass shot that won the game. Chris Paul won the game. And then Chris Paul obviously has not gotten to a finals until now, and he is playing big-time basketball. He is overcoming typical playoff James, as in Harden, as in way off James, as in Harden. And yet I still say this is an upset. And I still say maybe the heavens have opened, the path has been cleared for LeBron to win, dare I say, a 4th ring. Because I believe these Cavaliers would have a much better shot against the Rockets than they would against Golden State. It is about matchups. I know that's the biggest cliche in the postseason, but the Celtics were a tough matchup defensively, just on savvy coaching strategy for the young 76ers. They were a tough matchup. The 76ers would have been a terribly tough matchup for LeBron. I picked the Sixers to win the East. I believe they would have eliminated LeBron's team because they have 2 aircraft carriers in the lane, 2 nuclear weapons in Embiid and Ben Simmons who can protect the rim at 7 feet tall. And they keep LeBron from taking over the game at the rim. And we saw Philadelphia go on March 1st to Cleveland and just kick them. Just beat them decisively. And then we saw LeBron try to turn the favor coming from 22 down that last week of the regular season at Philly. LeBron gets fouled crazily at near the buzzer. They're down 3. He gets foul shooting a three-point shot. Has to go the ultimate nightmare for him because he's a poor, by his standards, free throw shooter. And he had to stand there by himself, again, worst nightmare, and make all 3 free throws to get them to overtime at Philly. This is right at the end, is on a Friday night at the end of the regular season. And, of course, he missed the second one and then was forced to miss the third intentionally. They almost pulled it off. Larry Nance almost rebounded, got it back in the basket. But the point is, Philly would have beaten Cleveland. I just believe it. But Boston wound up as a break. LeBron's getting breaks. Boston was a break for them. The upset there was a huge break for LeBron, and the upset that Houston could pull off if Chris Paul can come back even at 90% for Game 7 at Houston. Boy, you'd have to think Houston has just imposed its physical defensive will on Golden State. I never thought I'd see it happen. I thought Golden State would win the series in 5. And it looked like after Game 1, they were going to win it in 4. And then here came the Rockets. And they are playing football, basketball on defense. They are flat out bullying the team that used to be the finesse bullies, Golden State. The arguably, or statistically, the best offensive basketball team we've ever seen in the history of the National Basketball Association is just getting driven out of its sets by the Houston defense. But James Harden, I don't trust him. Clint Capella, I don't know. You know, they're a nice team. They play hard on defense. I don't think they have anybody who could stop LeBron James. So I think it would be easier for LeBron to beat Houston than Golden State. That's just me. Because Golden State, when they get rolling against Houston, against Cavaliers, they just got firepower. They just light it up from everywhere, and they can't get off a shot against Houston. And Kevin Durant, the guy I used to say was the best player on the planet, I rescind that comment. I just say what I see on Undisputed. Again, you can see it 9:30 to noon Eastern on Fox Sports 1. And I said today, I'm out on Kevin Durant. He is now Kevin Durant for me. He was running from the ball last night after he botched the play at the end of Game 4 at home. He was a decoy. He said no mas. He wanted no part of those last 2 plays in which Golden State actually had chances to steal the game because James Harden was 5 for 21 and 0 for 11 from 3 and has now missed his last 23s. And that is the only reason that Golden State hung in and had some prayer of a chance. They actually had 3 prayers of chances. And by the way, it has hurt them without Iguodala because Quinn Cook winds up taking the shot of shots last night, and he's had a really nice year. He averaged 16 a game in place of Steph Curry. He didn't have to make that shot or even take that shot, and Chris Paul goes down and can't get up the court. And all of a sudden, Quinn Cook says, uh-oh, I've got the ball in my hands and no defender. He shot it okay. It wasn't, I was looking at it on Undisputed today as we were talking about it, and it wasn't as bad a shot as I thought when I saw it live. It didn't really have a chance, but he got it up on the rim. It's just a little long, a little off. Whatever. That would have been the Iguodala shot. See, if Iggy's in there, that's why Quinn Cook was in the games, because there's no Iggy. So can Iggy return for Game 6 and 7? Obviously it's going to come down to Game 7 because without Chris Paul, I'm pretty sure what we saw tonight from LeBron and company in Cleveland, we will see tomorrow night from KD, Steph, Clay, Draymond, and company at home at Oracle with no CP3 on the other side. Maybe Iguodala comes back. I don't know. I haven't heard. And then you would hope Iguodala comes back for Game 7. And if he does and Chris Paul can't play, then I'd give Golden State a pretty good chance at Houston to win Game 7. And then we'd be back to Cavaliers, Warriors, 4. It'd be the 4th straight time, and I'm sure people would be a little sick of that. I'm sure they'd rather see James Harden and CP3 versus LeBron. Whatever. I'm just telling you, I don't think LeBron can beat Golden State. I just don't think, if they're healthy and eligible, Draymond, I just think you'd see pretty much what happened last year. You'd see Golden State in 5 games. There is no Kyrie, obviously. And now we await the fate of Kevin Love. But tonight was the Kings' night. Way to go, King. Highly impressive. Huge consistent energy on offense from start to finish. Pretty good energy, at least good enough energy on the defensive end. Some resting, but at least some engagement. No resting, no pulling self from game first quarter, second quarter. Played the whole first half, set the tone. Tour de force. Way to go. Now you need to take it up a whole nother level in Game 7, LeBron, and I believe you are highly capable. You and your team are just better than that other team. They don't have Kyrie Irving. They don't have Gordon Hayward. They don't even have Shane Larkin coming off the bench, who used to be a real spark for them off the bench. They don't even have Daniel Tice coming off the bench, who had some big games. He had a 19-point game. Shane Larkin had a 15-point game. These were important little pieces to their puzzle, and they don't have them. I don't know. They're really not that good. They were the 18th best offense in all of pro basketball, and tonight there were long stretches where they just couldn't score. They won't be able to score in the fourth quarter. LeBron should own the fourth quarter. He should basically own the game. I got a bet, another case of Diet Mountain Dew. I was up. I'd won 10 in a row from my partner, Shannon Sharp, across from me on Undisputed, 9:30 to noon Eastern on Fox Sports 1. And he has now won the last 2 from me to win back 2 of those 10 cases. But we made another bet. He said LeBron will go for 50 or more points on Sunday night in Game 7. I just can't see that. Could I see 40-something? I guess I could. But I'm not sure about that. I don't know. This is going to be a battle. I won't go all the way to the cliche war, but it's going to be a physical fight. It will probably be a little lower scoring. Boston will take it up. Remember, they were the number 1 defensive team the whole year from start to finish. That was, again, they were the 18th ranked offense with Kyrie, and they were the number 1 defense with Kyrie, who never had a reputation for playing much defense. So whatever. They do know how to defend. They just don't have that one guy to stop LeBron. But I think they will play supremely physically and with extreme energy on Sunday night. So I think the score will be a little lower than it was tonight. Just a little lower. I could see it ending in the 90s, as we've been seeing Houston and Golden State end in the 90s. So is it possible LeBron could go 50? It's possible, but I'm going to bet against that. I'll take that bet. I don't have great conviction on it, but could it be the kind of game where, like Michael Jordan's huge last closeout game at Utah in 1998, I was there covering the team, and that night with Scottie Pippen ill, he managed just 8 points in that game. Michael Jordan had 45 of their 87 points. They only won 87 to 86, but it took 45 points from Michael. It took 4 steals from Michael, including obviously the last one in the last few seconds. Snake behind Karl Malone. Took it the length of the floor. Scotty's over on the wing saying, I'm open. And Michael's like, I don't think so. And little subtle push off of Brian Russell, which is how they played basketball in the 90s. Nobody's going to call that. And he went up. And he held the pose as it swished clean as a whistle right into the heart of the Utah fans and into Karl Malone, John Stockton, Jeff Hornacek. And that was it, 87 to 86. So could LeBron have that kind of game, low scoring, high points? He could. I just don't think he's going to get 50. We'll see. It'll be interesting. I think he could get 40-something. I think he should get 40-something. And I think the Cavaliers should win this by 10, just like tonight. In fact, I could see a repeat of about that. What was it tonight? 109 to 99 or something like that. It was a 10-point game. But I could see them winning by 10, maybe more in the 90s, maybe 99 to 89, or let's do even 101 to 91. Something in that ballpark by 10. And Boston will not be able to score in the fourth quarter, and LeBron advances to his 8th straight final, and then we will see against whom. But Again, CP3 is the outstanding issue for Houston. Kevin Love is a huge issue. Again, led the whole playoffs in rebounds coming into tonight. I don't know. Is he going to be able to go? I'm sure they will try to figure out how to get him to pass his concussion protocol. I'm going to guess he will play. I'm going to guess the Cavs will play by far their best game on the road in this playoffs. That's what I'm going to guess will happen. So, I got the Cavaliers. I got you on Undisputed on Monday morning. I can't wait. We will be on the holiday. If you're off, check us out. Give us a shot if you don't get a chance to see us. 9:30 to noon Eastern on Fox Sports 1. God bless America on Memorial Day weekend. Thank you to all the veterans and armed forces people out there who have defended our country in the past or are defending our country as we speak. God bless each and every one of you. We love you. We love our country. We love the right and the privilege that we have to watch LeBron James play playoff basketball. And we get to do it again on a Sunday night leading into a Monday holiday on which I have the privilege and honor of working with Shannon Sharp on Undisputed, 9:30 Eastern on Fox Sports 1. I will see you then. Good night, Facebook.